Hey guys, Midnight Strike back here again, and today I'm going to review an older album from last year to be exact. Actually, it's over a year old from today's standards, and it is actually the very first album. If you were following me on my old channel, it's the very first album that I did. An album so good that it got me into reviewing albums in the first place. That album is called Worship Music by Anthrax. Now, for those of you who were on my original channel, it was a convoluted mess with a bunch of random crap added on to all of my works with reviews, but I am actually doing this for the third time, reviewing it, because this is sort of more or less a cursed album for me to review, because I kind of fuck up every single time I try to put out a review for it. So this time I am going to do the final attempt. So I'm going to do a track by track and a little background information because it is required for this album, an album of this proportions. So to get started, I'm going to put my phone on silent so it doesn't vibrate during this review. To get started, this album is the first album since 2003's We've Come For You All. And if that isn't benchmark enough, it's the first album in 20 years. 21 years, actually, to be honest. Since 1990, with the old singer, some people consider it the original singer, Joey Belladonna. Now, his voice has aged a little bit, but it does sound great. It's like a combination between old Belladonna and John Bush, which was the current, or the past lead singer before they had that stint with Dan Nelson. So, to begin, this is going to be a little bit of an in-depth look at the CD itself. So, this is the front cover, Anthrax, Worship Music. It kind of has the same design as We Come For You All overall, because We've Come For You All had sort of the same little souls and faces, except for it was purple, and had a different design on the cover with the star. So, getting into it, delving into the album, little pictures of the band members. Joey is back in the band. He has been since 2010. This is amazing. And then there is Rob Caggiano. Last time I did this review, I didn't know how to pronounce his name, sadly. That is Frank Bello. And the drummer, I forget his name. But anyways, so it goes like this. It shows all of the band members, and then Joey is sort of alienated on the front. And then Scott Ian, of course, we can't really forget the main founding member, is in the middle. God, the drummer's name is bothering me. But anyways, delving outside of the album, this is the back. And it's got sort of a religious, like the praying hands sort of thing. And the first song is Earth on Hell. Now, some people might say the first song is Worship, but that's more of an intro to Earth on Hell. And Worship, it's not really as good of an intro as Contact was off We've Come For You All, but I didn't really like Contact that much either, personally. And Contact sort of had like a more rockin' appeal to it. It was heavier, whereas this is just mainly like violins and organs and stuff like that. But Earth on Hell comes in, it just immediately takes you into the destructive world of Anthrax. It just thrashes on the drums, and Charlie Benante, that's what it is. His name is Charlie Benante. Okay, I can't believe I forgot him. He is my favorite drummer ever. How could I forget him? Okay, Charlie Benante. But just thrashing on the drums, Frank's thrashing on the basses. Everything is just destruction everywhere. It's hard, it's heavy. It retains that sound that Anthrax is known for back in the 80s, and it's everything anyone could ever see on an Anthrax record. And it's interesting to note that Dan Nelson the previous singer during that stint that they didn't have any albums released, was supposed to sing on Worship Music, and he had actually had his vocals recorded. But then they went back once Joey joined. Actually, there was a stint where Bush joined, but then after Bush left, Joey joined, and then they re-recorded the vocals with Joey for these new songs. So Earth on Hell is really good, and The Devil You Know is one of my favorites. It's got sort of a popish chorus to it, as does the next song, but I really like it. It's got a great riff, it's really catchy, and the lyrics are pretty good. For an Anthrax album anyways, you know? So, next song is my absolute favorite Anthrax song, period, next to I Am the Law, if not more so, Fight 'Em Till You Can't. Now this is a song that pretty much returns to Anthrax's comical origins, where they make all these pretty good comic references. And, I mean, what's more comically badass than killing zombies? I mean, this song, you could see it in Black Ops for zombies. I mean, it's great, you know? Killing zombies. So, this song is really good. It's got a really great riff, really memorable, and it begins with a police sort of announcements telling the, giving the report to civilians that city authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. That is an epic intro. And a weird thing is, on the single version, this intro almost sounded sort of Mexican, or like, it had sort of that underlying heavy Mexican accent. It was a little distorted, but then it cleared up on the album version, so I don't really know why that is, but whatever. Next song is I'm Alive, and it's really good. It's got a really good chorus. Love the beginning. It's a thrashing intro. I mean, it's just like their older days. This album could be the successor to Persistence of Time, and we wouldn't even know the difference. It's just that good. It sounds exactly like what classic Anthrax should sound like. It's just amazing what they can do. So, in the end, if I remember correctly, In the End was a tribute to Dimebag Darrell, and I think one other person, but I'm not exactly sure. But it's very good, very heavy, and the lyrics are just great. So, I know I've been saying that about a lot of the songs, but I mean, the same holds true. I mean, not much else can be said besides classic Anthrax release. And this was just released last year, and it's already a classic in my mind. So, the next song, The Giant, little repetitive. It's got that heavy vocals to it, and I don't know. I really like all the songs on this album, but The Giant is a little bit repetitive for me. It's good, but it gets kind of repetitive, and the melody, the rhythm, is just kind of bouncing all over the place. But then again, it kind of adds to the comical notion of what Anthrax is. So, another classic release. The song Judas Priest, another bouncing one that is kind of all over the place, but it's heavier. It's heavier than The Giant was, and the lyrics are a little bit better, a little bit more structure, or a little bit more sound structure on there. So that one's pretty good. I like Judas Priest better than The Giant, at least. So, let's see. Crawl is another one. Now this is a new kind of thing, where Joey almost sounds like he's rapping. This song sounds like it would be better, I don't want to say better, with John Bush, but Joey pulls it off amazingly. But hearing John Bush with Armored Saint definitely gives it that appeal. If John Bush were ever to sing this song, it's a little bit slower, and it just punches right through the chorus, punches right through the verses, and like I said, he enunciates pretty much every word, and it's good. It's really good. So, the next one is The Constant, and it kind of, for some reason, reminds me of I'm Broken by Pantera, just with that strumming, chugging along melody in the beginning, that intro, and then punching out the choruses. So Joey's vocals are pretty good on this one as well. And by far one of my other all-time favorites on the album, and one of the longest songs because of the cover at the end, Revolution Screams. Now, this is one of the heaviest songs on the album, aside from Fight 'Em Until You Can't. And it's the longest, too. And it showcases Joey's vocals very well, I think. The vocals themselves are pretty great, lyrics are spectacular, and structure is sound, and it sounds a lot like they're paying homage to Pantera. And this is another one that you could see a more of a screaming vocalist be placed within this song, and it would still sound very good, aka John Bush, or I don't know about Dan Nelson. He seems like a Phil Anselmo wannabe, personally, but that's not what this is about. So, New Noise is at the end of Revolution Screams, and I actually really like this one. Like, when I heard that Joey Belladonna was back in the band, I was overjoyed. But then I heard he was singing a cover of New Noise by Refused. I just didn't know what to make of it. I didn't think they were able to pull it off, you know? Just the sheer differences between the band's genres and everything. It's just unbelievable. And I actually ended up liking this one a lot better than Refused's, because the vocals are a lot more audible, it's heavier, and it's Anthrax, but that's beside the point. I like Scott's backing vocals. Scott, Frankie, whoever is doing the backing vocals, I really love those. But most of all, the guitars are just phenomenally heavy. And Joey's vocals are pretty much spot on. For whatever they were trying to do, they pulled it off, pulled out all the stops. This is worship music, people. Other way. This is worship music, people. I've Midnight Strike. Good night.